What is going on, everybody? I am Todd. It is Wednesday at 4 p.m., and that means it is time for the award-winning, the #1 live stream about live streaming right here on Twitch. It's time for Streaming on Streaming. Whoa, my intro video got cut short there today. What's going on? A little technical difficulty to start the show off. Welcome to Streaming on Streaming. My name is Todd Sharp. I am very glad to be with you today. If you're new to the stream, welcome. We appreciate you joining us. Looks like there's 56 viewers today joining us so far, and STU has some googly eyes. We're already starting with the memes. Love it. Bring them. We love to see them. Hello. Thanks for the warm welcome. I'm new to the stream. Welcome, Alex. Alexi? Is it Alexi? Josh, thanks for joining us. We appreciate y'all joining us. If you're new to the stream, this is Streaming on Streaming, a live stream where we talk about live streaming, specifically building live streaming applications with Amazon Interactive Video Service. If you do not know what Amazon Interactive Video Service is, that's okay. We are glad to have you here. Hopefully you'll learn a little bit more about it today. And you could always check out some of our blog posts on dev.to. You could check out ivs.rocks, amazing resource built by some of our coworkers. And yeah, just check out the stream. We have we have different shows that we do. Sometimes we do kind of walkthroughs of features. We actually write some code and build features. It's Alex. Okay, Alex, welcome. Sorry. It's always hard to pronounce or figure out how to pronounce certain names or all that. So Alex is doing their cloud practitioner certificate from AWS Restart. So I know a thing or two. Awesome. Igor Alexander, hello from Brazil. Welcome, Igor. Or Igor Alexander. It's got to be Igor, right? Anyways, so we do builds, we do walkthroughs of features, we do sometimes we do interviews with teammates or members of the AWS, the IVS organization, and that's what we're doing today. Today we have a very special guest. Please welcome to the stream, Song King. Hey, Song.
Hi, Todd. Thanks for having me today.
You are quite welcome. Thank you for joining us. I know you're busy, as we all are, so it's very much appreciated that you took the time to join us. Creator Home Affiliate says, "I see you, Song." Hopefully that's a friend of yours.
Well, if not, then you can be my friend now.
Awesome. Yes. We have Ashley. We have Alex says, "Hello, Song King." Hype. So
hi.
If you don't know Song is a senior software development manager on the IVS core team, and you've done various roles. You've been at Amazon, you've been at Amazon Music, you worked at EA for a while. So tell us a little bit about Song, what you do now, what you how you got to do this job, all that good stuff. Tell everyone all about you.
Yeah. So you kind of mentioned I was at Amazon before Twitch. I started my career post-college here. I was an intern, then started off as I started my career at IMDb, which people may or may not know is a subsidiary of Amazon. And then from there, I moved to Amazon Music, where I worked with a really awesome team called Legato. We built components for Android apps for the music app. So that was really cool. And then when I was starting to get a little itching for change, someone reached out to me from Twitch, asked if I would ever been interested in working on Twitch. The answer was absolutely yes. And they told me that they were starting a new team, building a brand new product called IVS, which was essentially going to be the Twitch video system, but as an AWS service. So I was getting an opportunity to join a brand new team to build a product from the ground up. And so I took the opportunity and never looked back. So yeah.
Awesome. STU says, what was your favorite team and why was it Legato?
Hey, Stuart. Whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you doing here?
So
um,
Legato, that you said that was on Amazon Music.
yeah, legato means. I may not remember exactly, but um, it means kind of like the like composition of different musical pieces together, something
Oh,
like
okay.
that. Stu, correct me if I'm wrong, but um, that's basically what it was. And we were building these components for different Android systems, so like it felt very fitting. It was obviously a musical term. So yeah, that was really cool. It was just such a great time. I learned a lot about mobile development. I learned that I don't like mobile development, which I think is a great lesson to learn. Sometimes you learn that you really enjoy something, and sometimes you realize you don't, and that's okay. And I tell people all the time, just take new opportunities and explore new skills. And as a back end developer, I definitely felt the benefit of having experience working on the front end on the client side in my work as on the back end, because I could understand where the pain points were for a client when integrating with services and stuff. So
That's a good point. So right now you're a manager, right? On in the IVS core team. And
yes.
actually, why don't we start there? What is the
Yeah.
IVS core team? What does your team do? What
Yeah.
do your and okay, I'm getting way ahead of myself. I'll just let you answer that. I'll
Okay.
let you answer that.
Okay, so when I joined Twitch, and I joined IVS, I joined the IVS core team as a developer. So we were what our team does, what we own is what I like to just say, essentially all the customer facing aspects of the system. So that means like the public API endpoints, CloudWatch metrics for customers to see into the health and analytics of their channels and their streams. We integrate with metering. So obviously, customers got to get billed for their usage. And we integrate with a ton of other AWS services. So my team's kind of at a really interesting place because most of the services that we own are not like entirely within our own domain. So, all of our metrics that we're getting, we get those from the video services that actually do the ingestion of the video data or the distribution of it, and then we send that downstream to CloudWatch, which is another thing that we do not own. So we're always working with the other video teams within Twitch, and then we're working with the different AWS teams to integrate with their services in order to surface this data or whatever it is.
That's a tricky kind of spot to be in sometimes. You have to really kind of be a good conductor, almost like you're just
Yeah,
pointing this here and pointing that there, and really
for
kind of
sure.
managing and trying to um remove a lot of roadblocks, probably, I imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that I joined originally as an engineer, and I think because of the nature of the work that our team does, we end up doing so much of just like building consensus across teams, collaborating with a lot of others, being part of these big picture conversations where I may not have anything to do with the video system, but I need to make sure that they are sending us the data that we need to send metrics to the customer. So just being able to collaborate, understand, and empathize with other teams what their needs are and what their requirements are, and then how do we get that to mesh with what the customer needs and wants, and then how do we coordinate together to build one successful product for both the business but also the customer. So I mentioned this because that's kind of what led me into I guess opening my eyes that I wanted to be a manager. I feel like as a manager, a lot of what I do is kind of the same thing, is those big picture conversations, collaborating with different teams and all of that stuff. So I think the opportunity to work on this team really highlighted like that I did have these strengths and that I really enjoyed it. So I luckily have a great manager, and he really encouraged me to just like go all the way in and help me with that transition.
That's great. Before we dig in more on the management side, I want to talk about uh, your kind of programming engineering background.
Mhm.
Um, just kind of scrolling through your LinkedIn and looking at that, it looks like you've worked with Java, you've worked with Python, you've worked with C++. Did I miss anything there?
Well, we use Golang almost
Golang?
entirely here
Okay.
at Twitch. Definitely on IVS. I did dabble a little bit in like TypeScript when we do build CDK, or that's infrastructure and code. It's been like a minute since I've written some code, to be honest.
Really?
Well, I try to be good at delegating and leave that to the engineers because that's where their skills are, and
Right.
my time can often be better used elsewhere. But when there are tasks that are pretty, I don't know, menial, like we need to get it done, but no one really wants to work on it. Those are like the small little engineering tasks that I tend to pick up these days. But I will say that having been away from the code for so long, I do get a little nervous pushing some code. I'm
Yeah.
just convinced anything I push out is going to break. I was pretty convinced that recent like we saw a bunch of things were failing, and I immediately was like, does this have anything to do with what I just pushed? Luckily it didn't, but I was nervous.
I think I know what you're talking about. Was it earlier today?
Yeah, it was earlier today, so I was sweating buckets.
I'm sure it was nothing. I'm sure it was nothing you did.
It
Robert
wasn't,
Table
so
Robert Table says my struggles. I'd rather write code instead of delegate. I mean, I think that's a
I understand this. I actually had a
yes.
conversation like this with one of my reports today. He was asking me what led me to becoming a manager instead of trying to go down the path of becoming a principal engineer. And I kind of talked about like, I definitely am happy to delegate. I find as much joy in my team successes when we deliver a product, whether or not I wrote the code or not. I know not everybody feels that way. Some people are like take a lot of pride in like the way I wrote this code. It's so smart. Like the way I can optimize this, or I really want to use these new tools and stuff. And I think that's awesome.
Mhm.
And I think people like that should lean into that. And like you are those people who should become
Right.
senior engineers, principal engineers. And those of us who like maybe don't care as much, like we can take on some of those other roles. I think a lot of times there's this idea that as you continue to grow in your career, like if you're a senior engineer, you need to become a manager or whatever. And I don't necessarily agree with that.
Right.
I think that we should allow people to do the roles in which one, they enjoy and they thrive, and two, in which their strengths are. And then sometimes if those two don't align, then like work on your strengths. That's always something you can exercise and get better at. But always work on the thing, do the thing that you enjoy. Because look, if you hate delegating, you're gonna hate your job if you're a manager. So
I don't know so much that I hate delegating. It's just that since I was like 8 years old, I've gotten such a high from writing code and seeing it actually work that 30 plus years later, I still get, when I write code. And it's just
yeah,
like you said, if you enjoy it, you should lean into it. And I love writing code. I don't do it full time. I don't write production code, but I get the best of all worlds. I get to
yeah.
write blog posts and demos and um, speak at conferences, do live streaming. So it's
Mhm.
but all of those things are what I love to do. So I have the best job in the world. Like everything that I do, I love. So
Well,
I
that's what you
feel
want,
myself lucky.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you want the job that you love, and I get it. Like I that feeling of when you finally fix that bug and you finally
Mhm.
see like build succeeded or whatever
Yeah.
it is, it's like, "Oh my god, I am the greatest engineer that's ever lived. I am a genius." Like I'm so proud of myself. I love that feeling too, but for me, I get that as well when one of the engineers on my team is struggling and I
Yeah.
don't know the answer, but I can ask a lot of questions and help them hopefully get to the answer by just questioning them, asking them, kind of guiding their way of thinking. And then when they get that aha moment, I too am like, hell yeah, we did it. Like, I'm so proud of you. And the same when I see any that I mentor a lot of people. Ashley, who's in the chat, is one of those. And anytime I'm talking to anyone who is maybe struggling with anything or wants to grow some area that they feel they need to improve, I find so much joy in like helping enable them to do that and giving them pointers, whether or not like I don't have the answers. I can only
Right.
tell you what I think and what I've done, but really helping people solve their own problems, I get so much joy and like that high out of it.
That's awesome. It's 4:15. If you're just joining us, Welcome. Where have you been? Shame on you. You should have been here 15 minutes ago. No, just kidding. Um, this is Streaming on Streaming. I'm Todd Sharp. I'm the principal developer advocate for Amazon Interactive Video Service. And joining me today is a senior software development manager, Song King. And Song, I have a new segment in the show just for today's episode. So I'm going to kick this off and just right after this.
It's time for another fun fact about song.
That's cute.
So fun facts about Song. I read a interview that you did with the Twitch blog a while back. So
Yeah.
hopefully none of this will be a surprise to you that I'm gonna bring up. But fun fact about Song, the first one today. Song was a competitive figure skater for 14 years. So
Yes.
that is a really fun fact. And also Olympic alternate. You were in the Olympic development
Olympic
program?
development team. Yeah. So how that kind of works is like when I went to nationals, it was at the novice level. So the nationals that you normally watch on TV is senior, the highest level, and they're the ones that go to the Olympics. And then you've got junior below that, and then novice below that. So I went to nationals at novice. I was 14. Got fifth place, which just missed the podium, but I was so proud of myself, of course, because fifth in the country. And yeah, I was on the Olympic development team. So essentially, what that meant was, I think this was in 2008. So they were basically calling us the 2014 Olympic team because
Oh, okay.
assuming that all of those like people who would compete in 2014 would be in that group. So obviously that didn't happen. My career sadly ended with a number of injuries. The main one being the shattering of my right foot.
Really? Yeah, that kind of makes
Yeah.
skating a bit hard, I think.
Yeah, it's actually crazy because I skated with it like that for a while. So it started off as like a single stress fracture in the metatarsal, and then because it was like my tapping and landing leg, every time I go to jump, it'd be like smash, smash, smash until like the bones just started to like splinter and
Oh,
shatter. By the time I went to the doctor, they're like, "What the hell? Why have you not come in sooner? You could have been paralyzed if you did not come in, like, in if 3 weeks from now, it could have been unable to walk." So, I was 14 or
ah,
15 or something like that, and I had to make, like, the very difficult decision to give up on this lifelong dream that I had, which
ah.
up until that age, if you ask me, like, "Who is Song King? What are you?" Like, first thing I would say is, like, "I'm a figure skater." That's it. That was my identity. So, that was a really, like, a wake-up call. So, a lot of people will say, "You were only a kid," and
Yeah, but you spent your whole life probably up till
yeah,
that point working to
yeah.
that.
Another fun fact, I actually learned to figure skate before I learned to speak English properly.
No
Um,
kidding.
yeah, I was born in the US, but my parents are Vietnamese, so we speak
Mhm.
Vietnamese at home. And I just, knew little bits of English, and it wasn't really till I went to school I was learning. But I started skating before I went to school, so
So
I
so
remember
was your
distinct.
teacher a Vietnamese speaker or
No, I don't really remember. I don't really remember the logistics of it, to be honest. Like, I actually do not have memories of my life from before I skated. I was just so young.
Right. Wow, that's crazy. That is
Yeah,
crazy. So and like you said, I mean, you're not even like an adult yet, and you're kind of already pivoting to like, all right, now what's my next career option?
yeah,
Most kids at 14, and trust me, I know I have two of them that are 16, 15 and 17. Neither one of them like know what they even want to be in life
mhm.
yet. And to have already had a dream end at that point, I
Yeah,
can't imagine that. But I
it
guess
was tough.
it probably taught you a lot of perseverance,
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely. It took me a long time, I think, post quitting and like career ending to really find myself and
Mhm,
discover who I was without skating and find direction.
mhm.
I didn't just like jump into computer science or anything when I went to college. I actually went to college as a classics major. Like I wanted to study the ancient history of like Greece and like Roman and Greek history. But Today I look back and like that's where I get my work ethic. That's where I get, like my motivation when times are hard, how to like keep pushing through. How do I deal with stress? Like I thrive under pressure. And that's definitely because of
Right.
my, competitive background. And that's probably why I don't really fear, being on streaming or talking like public speaking and everything.
Right.
I really enjoy being in front of audiences and whatnot.
Yeah, it's I don't have statistics, but so many people like they say like the fear of public speaking and like, doing something like this is just
Yeah.
crippling to them. But I think it's a valuable skill and it makes you extremely marketable to be able to communicate.
Yeah.
Um, my daughter is deathly afraid of any kind of public speaking, but we've really worked with her. She's very shy.
Yeah.
She's really smart and she wants to be a doctor. Um, and we really try to push her that, especially as a doctor, you're going to need to stand in front of a room and talk about things, with a family, or
Yeah.
doing like a training course, or even managing a clinic or something. It's going to be a skill that you really need. And it's
Absolutely.
not just like this. It's not just getting up on a stage and doing a presentation. It's just speaking in front of a crowd and being comfortable and confident in what you're
Confident.
saying. Yeah, is the
Yes.
big thing.
For sure. I think like a lot of if you if you don't do well public speaking, you could be the smartest person in the world, but when you're trying to convey those thoughts to an audience or to a group of people, you're not going to come across that way. And you really do need to kind of like build up that skill and like that level of confidence in order to be able to like show people who you are and what you know and really be able to like build that trust with those who are listening to you.
Right. Alex says it's never easy being an introvert. Being an introvert myself, I can relate. Yeah, I mean, I do feel for people who are introverted.
Yeah.
You know, I I wish there was like some easier way to help them out because it's a legit pain that some people feel. It's like just a crippling kind of anxiety that you can kind of take over you. So,
Yeah.
Alex, you know, if there's anything I can do to help with your introversion,
Maybe
I'd
we
be
bring
glad to.
Alex up on stage.
Yeah, Alex,
Practice.
yeah, you could come on the stream sometime and chat. The undead squirrel says soft skills are equally important as technical skills, but much
Yes.
harder to improve.
100%. I talk about this all the time. So when I became a manager for the team, our team nearly doubled in size. So I had the task of recruiting and hiring a lot of people. And one of the things that I was telling, candidates was that, especially on IVS core, that soft skills are just as important as technical skills because you are talking to other teams all the time and you are having to build consensus. How good is your level of communication? You could be like the best coder, but if you can't communicate those ideas to the product manager, or if you can't communicate your ideas to the team that you need to do work for you, like you're not going to be able to get stuff done. You're not going to be able to have the level of impact that you want. So this is something that I think everybody, no matter what your role is, no
Right.
matter what projects you're working on, you definitely can take the opportunity to improve some of those soft skills. And I would say, like, I would really encourage you to do those. And even if it's just doing little lunch and learns for your own team, with who
Yeah.
you're, already comfortable with.
Right. Exactly. That's a great idea. Like just do something small scale, even
Yes.
internal with people it's a
Mhm.
way to build that confidence.
Something some of my friends and I used to do, and I've seen the interns kind of do this. The Twitch interns
Mhm.
is they have this thing called like teach me anything, and you give a presentation. I don't know
Mm,
if it's like 5 to 15 minutes or something, and you teach the group literally about anything that
right.
you want. So it doesn't have to be work related. So whether it's about telling them about your trip to
Mhm.
South Africa or about some really cool skill that you just picked up or snowboarding or whatever it is, just going through that practice and making it about something you love and enjoy and like
Mm.
you legitimately just want to share with people will help you at least start to build those skills while still in a more comfortable space.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. That's perfect. Um, somewhat related to this whole topic, I always repeat this, and I don't know if it's complete crap or if it's true, but it works for me, so I go with
Mhm.
it. Um, I read once, actually, I've read multiple times that the chemical reaction of nervousness and excitement are almost identical in the brain. And
I've heard
so,
that.
yeah, so if you think about how you react when you're nervous, you kind of clam up, you forget what you're gonna say, do this, and you may just stop using, use filler words, like you act
Yeah.
like that. Um, Whereas when you're excited, you're you're speaking fast and your eyes are open and
Yeah.
your heart is racing, which
Yes.
the manifestation of those two things are two completely different things, but the chemical reaction is almost identical of what's going on in your brain. So if you feel like you're getting nervous and you feel like you're kind of clamming up, if you just tell yourself, I'm so excited, this is great, I can't wait, this is going to be amazing, and
Yeah.
you just kind of lie to yourself, even out loud,
Yes.
sitting by
Fake it till you
yourself,
make it.
it totally works. Like I've done it before, like interviews and
Yeah.
presentations, going on stage. And to this point, I think I've just completely rewired my brain to think that every time I'm nervous, I'm just excited. So,
Yeah.
um,
I will say that, it's kind of going back to like the fake it till you make it. That is so, I'm sure most of us have heard of imposter syndrome,
yeah.
and most of us have dealt with it, and I'm sure a lot of people still are. And for me, one of the best ways for myself to get through it was really just faking it till I made it. I literally would tell myself like I was the expert, I did know, and just like kind of acted that way and presented things that way until I really did just have that aha moment where I was like, actually, I do know. Like I am the expert. Like people are asking me for
Mhm.
a reason and I have the answer. And really just reflecting and being like, no one is doubting you. People only start to doubt you when they see you doubt yourself. So if I'm talking to you and you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure, then I'm gonna be like, oh, she's not sure. So I don't know if I should trust her. So
Well, and the other thing is, nobody wants to see you fail for the most part. I mean,
right.
maybe there's some weirdos that
Yeah,
that
but F them.
yeah, exactly. But like if you're in front of a crowd, everyone's cheering for you. Nobody
Mhm.
wants to see you fail. And honestly, even if you do fail, like think back in your life, any conference you've gone to or presentation you've watched, if somebody like really struggled, do you really remember it? No, you remember like the inspiring ones and the fun ones and
Mhm.
the energetic ones. You don't remember those failures. So nobody's going to remember if you make a mistake. And
Yeah.
it's not a big deal if you make a mistake. This is why I love Twitch, because I can make 50 mistakes during this live stream, but you know what?
Yeah.
That's okay because everybody makes mistakes.
Everybody makes them. Yeah.
And if you learn from them, then you're a better person, I think. You know,
Exactly.
Josh
Well,
says,
exactly.
I struggle with public speaking, and I found that over preparing and fighting through the discomfort will get you 80% of the way there. The other
Mhm.
20% is just practice and
Yeah.
consistently putting yourself out there. Absolutely.
Yes. I, at Amazon am a bar raiser. So, what that means is I'm specially trained to make sure that every interview loop that I'm on, is is making sure that like the candidate raises the bar and making sure that all of the interviewers are also aligned on what that bar is and what the expectations are. And what that meant was I would lead these debriefs of all of these interviewers, and many times they were people I didn't know, or they were managers or engineers or whatever of like levels even more senior than me because I've been doing this for a long time. And I used to get so nervous, so I would super over prepare. I would make sure I read everyone's feedback in advance instead of like in the meeting when everyone else does. I would take my notes, I would like point out all these things, and I like made a template for myself. And it just got to this point where everybody's like, songs debriefs are the best that I've ever attended. They're so well run. And I kind of got into a place where I was doing them so often that I didn't need to do that preparation as much because I'd gotten so comfortable doing it.
Right.
And I felt it came to me so naturally. But yeah, like it took a lot of work
Yeah.
leading up and a lot of preparation. So that's a really great tip. Like Josh, like definitely put in the work put in the practice, and it's going to be tough like when you start, but like that's why you keep going. Just like in skating, like I didn't get to nationals my first year of competing. I was skating for like 10 years before that happened. So it's all about getting up when you fall and trying it again like 100 times.
Absolutely. SeanKnight.com says, how many weeks does it take for someone to get hired? That's a
What does that mean exactly?
I think Sean, do you mean at like Twitch or Amazon? Well, I can kind of speak to that, but I can't exactly speak for the company. The answer is it depends. You know,
Yep.
I've seen it, and really in all of tech. I mean, I've had jobs where it took like 5 months from my first contact with a recruiter till my
Yeah.
start date. And sometimes it takes 12 weeks. 6 is kind of pushing it, but like 9, 12 weeks, I think in general in tech is what my experience has been.
Yeah.
But it all depends.
It does. And then you also have to understand, like, sometimes you're not hearing back not because of your loop or even
Right.
like other people's like that are interviewing for the role, but the person who's in charge of your thing or makes the decision is on vacation, and they're going to be gone for
Exactly.
3 weeks or whatever. And it does suck when you don't have that visibility. And I always
No.
tell people, like, I've referred a few people to the company and they're like, hey, Song, I haven't heard back. Can you check? And then I will ping them and they're like, oh, I've been meaning to get back to that person. So really just staying persistent, keep emailing them. You might feel like you're being annoying, but like just keep sending the email because they understand why you're asking.
Right.
I do know that Amazon has like a 2 and 5 policy. So once you're at the actual interview stage, they try to get back to you with a decision within 5 days, or at least some type of message saying like, we don't have a decision yet, but here's why, and like here's how much more time. So I do think that the hiring process has improved a lot since I joined as a originally for the company. And I know that Amazon takes their hiring process really seriously and is constantly trying to make improvements to it. So there's no perfect way to do hiring, especially in this economy. But yeah, it's
when you went through the hiring process, did you have to do coding interviews?
Which one? Yes, the answer is yes. So I had to do
was that really
coding.
stressful for you?
I get very stressed with interviews.
Do you?
I
Like this
don't
one
like
or like
no, not like
job
this.
interviews? Oh, okay.
Job interviews
Okay.
and technical job interviews. Like if all my interviews were just like chatting with someone, like hell yeah.
Right.
Hire me now.
Yeah.
But coding, like even if I know how to do the problem, I start sweating and like I start doubting everything. For me, what I really learned was like for coding interviews and just like ask lots of questions. Like, how does this work? What about this? What if it was like this? Blah, 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 blah. Like, what if this was an edge case? And like, I think the biggest mistake that I see is people
that's what you're showing them, your problem solving. You know,
Yes.
even if you don't write the right code, the way the
Yes.
questions you ask, the process that you go through.
Well, here's the thing. When you're an engineer at the company, a good engineer will see a problem and then write a solution.
Right.
A great engineer will look at the problem and then ask you more questions. They're like, but have you thought about this? But what about scale? How fast does it need to be? What if I get an input like this? Blah, blah, blah. So those are the kind of engineers that really succeed and get promoted within the company. So those are also the skills that I look for in an interview as well.
For sure. Josh asks, what was your biggest challenge transitioning from a staff engineer to SDM?
Yeah, a little bit of that delegation that we talked about. I especially being on a team that I was an engineer and then I transitioned into the manager role. It was often easy for me to think like, oh, I can just quickly do this. But I really quickly learned that really doesn't help anyone in the long term, because even if someone else on my team hasn't done it yet, it's a valuable lesson for them to learn, because they will need to do it again in the future. And it shouldn't just be me who knows how to do this. Right. And even if it's fastest for me to do it, once they do it, then they can train other people and they can do it faster their next time. And then you learn to start, having more impact that way. Right. And then the other part of I guess my transition that I was nervous about was being a manager on a team for which engineers were once my peers, but
Yeah.
now that they weren't. So luckily, like the engineers that I work with are all incredible. The ones that report to me and the ones that don't. I love the relationship that we have, and it doesn't feel like when I talk to other like senior engineers on my team and I ask them to do something, it doesn't feel like I'm saying like, "Hey, I'm a manager. You need to listen to me and do this." It's really just like, "Hey, this is my role on the team and this is your role on the team. Like, let's work together and just do what's best for the team." And that was definitely just like a switch in my brain that I had to make and just understand that it wasn't about a hierarchy. It was just about like, I'm now responsible for different things and different conversations, and you're responsible for different things. And let's just make sure we stay in our lanes.
Yeah. Um, one of your team members is a little bit of a celebrity, I guess, because I had like 4 people come up to me last week and ask me if I knew Adam Brown.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yes. Adam is one of the first of all, fun fact, he's one of the 3 Adams on my team. I have 2 Adams that report to me, including Adam Brown, and then my manager's name is also Adam, and then
Mhm.
actually my husband's name is Adam, so lots of
Nice.
Adams in my life. But,
Yeah, I was at a conference down in Atlanta. I live in Georgia, and just one of them was another speaker at the conference, and just random people would, because I was wearing my Twitch gear, so and I
mhm.
had my badge said I worked at Twitch, so just random people were coming up to me like, "Do you know Adam Brown?" I'm like, I don't think I've ever met him, but I know of him, and I
Yeah.
knew he's in Atlanta, and
Mhm.
I think one of the people said that he used to work with him at Home Depot. I don't know, but yeah, just fun fact. He's apparently quite a celebrity in the Atlanta tech circles. So
Wow. Well, I hope he tuned into this and
yeah, I
heard
know,
that
right?
because that's awesome to hear. He's
Somebody clip
great.
that and
Yeah.
share it with him.
He's great. He actually started on the team as just a front end engineer. And he was working on our console side. And then his role has expanded since then. We have him on like as a full stack, working on the back end. He's been promoted since then. He's really stepped up as a leader. So I'm really excited to see like where his career grows. And that's like one of the people that like every time we talk and we meet, he was one of the people who like was once my peer and is now my report, and that I was a little nervous like what is our relationship going to be like, but nothing has changed. Like I am able to help support his career goals and also just listen to him as a friend about things work related and life related. And I think it's been a really cohesive, thriving relationship, and there's a lot of success in it. And yeah, I'm excited to see where his career grows, and I'm happy that I can be a part of that.
That's awesome. You're awesome, Song.
Thank you.
It's cool to see somebody get so excited about other people's success, because so many times in tech, and maybe it's not just tech, but so many times in business, just people just are so cutthroat and just like
Yeah.
they want it like all they want the spotlight. They want
Yeah.
the accolades. They want all the praise for doing a good job, but to see somebody who wants to lift up other people around them, I think it's rare. I hate to say that, but it's great to see.
People
It
get
really
really
is.
competitive. I think sometimes people feel like the success of others means that you cannot have success. Like, oh, if someone else on my team is getting promoted, that means I won't be able to get promoted. That's not the case. Like, I find that like when the people around me are succeeding, that's how I succeed. Like when they are growing, that's how I grow. When they learn new things, that's how I learn new things. Like whenever someone on my team learns something cool, I'm like, okay, can we sit down for 15 minutes? Can you just explain this to me? Teach me something. And I love that. And I hope that maybe more people will find this relatable and discover that like maybe that management path is for them. And then I also hope that maybe people will think like if that's not you and you were considering a management path, like maybe the engineering path is for you. Like,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
okay. I think
Mhm.
that's like we should just normalize like again sticking to what you love and enjoy and is going to give you a lot of
Fulfillment.
fulfillment. Yes, thank you.
Mhm. Um, I think the thing that's really helped in the last 10 years or so maybe is that a lot of technical companies have introduced a promotion path and a career path for individual contributors.
Mhm.
It used to be that you, in a technical role, you got to a certain level and you were just capped out. You were topped out. You couldn't, there was nowhere else for you to go. So that's why a lot of technical people would transition into management or leadership
Mhm.
roles, because that was the only way to make more money or,
Yeah.
get a promotion. But I think it's, changed a lot in the last 10 years. Let's
I hope
do
so.
another fun fact.
It's time for another fun fact about song.
By the way, that was a terrible, like, I use this like AI to like generate like a song, and I picked like this pop voice, and it's like it just
I mean,
it's
I was
cheesy
grooving.
enough to be funny. Fun fact. Oh wow, we got to do this one. Song was a child
Ooh.
actor. What?
Yes,
How do
yes,
you
I
wait?
was.
How do you go from figure skater competitively to child actor? And when did you realize that wasn't going to be your career choice?
So I was a child actor as young as I was a figure skater, and I actually stopped acting because, well, two reasons. One, my dad and my mom were didn't like the acting industry too much and like what it was portraying on the kids. They
Right.
would give lots of comments of like I had missing teeth and I was doing this Barbie commercial, and they're like, "Oh, she needs to get flippers. She needs
Oh
to get fake
yeah.
teeth." And I was like, "They're like, she's 6. Of course she
Right.
has
You're
missing teeth.
supposed
That's
to
just."
lose teeth at 6.
Yeah, it's like a very normal look. There's nothing wrong with that. And it was, I had to wear makeup and stuff all the
Ugh.
time. And like, I don't even wear makeup now. So it's like the fact that they were trying to require me to at age 6, my parents were like, no, this is not the career path for her. We're taking her out. But the other thing was also when you're doing something as intensive as figure skating, it really consumes your life. Honestly, it consumed my whole family's life. And I just really, if I wanted to succeed, and this was something my parents really, really repeated and like really instilled in me, is like, if you want to do something and you want to do something well, you need to like fully put your time and be committed to it. You can't half-ass it.
Right.
If you want to be an actor, then we'll do acting. If you want to be a figure skater, we'll do figure skating. But you can't just like put a little bit of time here, a little bit of time there, and think that you're gonna be amazing at both.
Right. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have one younger brother. He basically grew up in the figure skating lobby. When he was born, I was already skating, so he was always around and all of that stuff. But he and I are best friends.
Oh, nice.
He was one of my bridesman for my wedding. And yeah, he and I are like, well, I would say inseparable. Technically, we don't actually live near each other, so we're kind of separated all the time. But I love him so much, and I'm incredibly proud of everything he's done, is doing, and will do in the future.
That's super cool. Somebody has to clip that too now and send it to Song's brother. Um,
Yes, his name is
uh,
Wind,
Wind?
WIND.
Okay.
Yeah, we have cool names.
Yes, you do. Absolutely. Is King your married name? Or
No, it's my
okay.
it's my
Is
maiden name. Yeah. My husband's last name is Kirby, like
okay.
the character.
Yeah, yeah,
So we both have cool names. I wanted to keep mine. I feel like I established myself and
yeah.
my identity around it, but we talked about doing giving our kids the last name King Kirby, no space, no hyphen. So which sounds really awesome too.
That's very cool.
Mhm.
My best friend in high school and middle school, his last name was King. So uh it's you're probably not related unless you have relatives in
Probably
Ohio.
not. Not that
um
I know of.
So I won't do the intro again, but another fun fact, speaking of what you just talked about, you also do a podcast related to weddings, right?
Yes, yes, I do. Which is why I have this really nice mic. Actually, that's not true. I am also an affiliate on Twitch. I haven't streamed for a
Nice.
while, but that's why I have the nice mic. But yeah, I started a podcast late last year. The idea came to me because while planning my wedding, I just wanted to hear more stories about other people's weddings, like as inspiration, kind of like an audio Pinterest board, like I like seeing what ideas are out there. I don't necessarily want all of them for myself, but they kind of help inspire or give, me direction as well. So I felt most of the podcasts that existed were just about planning. So it's like, oh, you got experts on, and then after like 10 episodes, it starts to sound a little repetitive. So my podcast is focused on having different brides and or grooms on and talking about their wedding and what made the details like very you. It's called On Brand Brides. So like keep your wedding on brand. So it's been really fun. And yeah, it's taught me a lot of new skills. It's been
Right.
taking a lot of my time. And I have a lot of respect for people who do this like full time and like run their social media. I'm on my 11th episode and I've only posted like on Instagram up to episode 7 or something. And it's a lot of work.
It is. Is it all just like interaction interview, or do you have like intro and like?
Yeah, I have an intro, so
Yeah.
everybody here should give an episode a listen. But it's like I had a good friend of mine. He does DJing, so I told him like I really love trap music, like Aural Grime and stuff. So I wanted an intro that sounded like that, but then like played the wedding like the wedding horns like dun dun dun
Yeah.
dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun. So it's like a little mix of the two, and then it's all interview format, so a lot like this where we kind of just riff and we
Mhm.
talk about things. I ask them questions, sometimes they ask me questions. Every episode is different because every bride is different, every
Right.
wedding's different, and I've heard some like really funny stories. There was one episode where the girl was talking about like one of the band members fell off the stage and broke his leg in the middle of the wedding, and they were like playing random music, and then someone in the kitchen like was on the ground, they needed a doctor. And just
My
like these crazy stories.
funnily, my buddy whose last name is King that I was telling you about, at his wedding, his photographer got really drunk and had a napkin and was like dancing with the napkin like it was another person. It was, I mean, yeah. So like the last thing you want your photographer to do, and bless him, I love you, Mike, but they were trying to save a little bit of money, and so they hired this photographer that was a little cheaper. And yeah, don't ever like try to save money on the photographer for your wedding,
Yeah.
because he's gonna get drunk and he's gonna dance with a napkin, and you're gonna have half your pictures are not gonna be there anymore because
Yeah.
they're yeah.
Well, like that wedding I was just mentioning where the band member fell off, it was also because the band was like very, very much drinking and drunk and all that stuff. So I think the lesson here is like, yes, tell your vendors to enjoy themselves, but like, don't enjoy themselves too much. They're still here
Right.
doing a job.
Robert Table says, question: if there was one API team you could challenge, what? I didn't read this whole question before. I'm sorry. In a boxing match, who would it be, and who would? You don't have to answer that. You can, but it's up to you.
Let's talk offline after this, Robert.
Yeah, let's ask you this: what makes a good API, in your opinion?
Yeah. Clarity and of like in naming.
Yes.
And let me tell you, as an engineer, naming is freaking hard. Like
Yes.
a lot goes back and forth, and you got to think so much about like not just like what is it, how is it being used, but how might it be used in the future? What are other people in the industry calling similar APIs? Because you don't want to. Are you using loaded words, like words that could possibly mean lots of other things in the context of technology and software? And then honestly, good documentation, which like I cannot tell you the number of times I've tried to use some API, SDK, whatever it is, and I go to the documentation and it's just like super unclear, or it gives you like the absolute happy path and you're like, this is how you use it. It's like, okay,
right, but they never tell you what happens if something doesn't work as intended.
Exactly. Like if you get an error, try this, try that. It might be this. It's always like when you hit this button, it will do this.
Yeah.
Boom. It's like, but what if it did it? Now what? Like
Right.
help.
Yes.
So that's always my biggest thing. And that's something again, I tell my engineers all the time, like any code you write, any whatever you're doing, comment. Like you might understand what this is doing, but you might not understand it in 6 months. I can tell you that I've looked at my own code from the past and been like, what the hell was I doing? And then it's even worse if you're not on the team
Right.
and someone else is looking at this code. It's in the middle of some event, things are broken, alarms are going off, and you're having to sit here and read and try to guess what this engineer was thinking. Like, take all the guesswork out of it. It makes your life easier in the future. It makes other people's lives in the future, or lives easier in the future. But it's just, yeah.
For me, the number one thing that defines a great API is consistency. Like you said about naming, if you are in several different modules and the naming consistency is off, maybe they're two good names, but they both are different and they're both referring to the same thing. Nothing drives me crazier than like, but wait a minute, that's not how it worked in this module. Why did you do it differently? So that consistency is huge to me.
I am also the kind of person who will maybe overthink things. And I'm like, well, because they name things slightly different in this one, maybe that means it does something different. And like, maybe I'm not understanding it. And then maybe I'm supposed to be using something. And it's just, you just got to remember, like, when you're writing your documentation or you're writing your API, you have all the context in the world about this about this API. You know how it works, but the person using it does not. And you got to write it, like, explain to me like I'm 5 years old, right? Like, be very clear and don't ever assume that they know it, that your reader knows anything. Assume they know nothing, and like be very explicit about it all and be as clear as possible. Leave no room for like interpretation.
Absolutely. If you're just joining us, this is Streaming on Streaming. Joining me today is Senior Software Development Manager Song King from the IVS core team. We've got about 10 minutes left. Chat has been very active today. We very much appreciate that. Thank you all for joining and participating. If you have any last minute questions for Song, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I saw this one on a YouTube video yesterday that was completely unrelated to anything programming, but I have to ask you a trivia question. Does Mickey Mouse have thumbs?
Wait, okay, let me think. Yes, but I think he only has 4 fingers.
You are correct. You are correct. Each of Mickey's hands.
Do I win a free trip to Disneyland?
No, you win a Twitch bag from Christmas because
hell yeah.
Oh, you got one of those already though, didn't you?
Oh, but I love that bag.
Do you?
I do know someone on my team who doesn't have one though. So
I will send it to them.
Extra.
I do. Send
Cyrus, I got you.
Cyrus, we got you. So each of Mickey's hands only has 3 fingers and a thumb. Disney said this is both the artistic and financial decision, saying artistically 5 digits are too many for a mouse. His hand would look like a bunch of bananas. And financially, apparently, the amount of time they saved from drawing 1 less finger was just astronomical, apparently. Another question for you. Garuna says dibs on bag. Hart says, as I just got here, don't know what you're talking about, so I'll just ask Song. Favorite type of salad dressing?
Ooh, this is a great question. I feel like, okay, so I don't know if I have a general favorite salad for like all, or dressing for all salads, because I think depending on the salad, but have you ever tried the balsamic vinegar glaze that they sell at Trader Joe's? It is so much better than just the regular vinegar. Yeah.
I've not had the Trader Joe's one, but I do get the glaze and I'll put it on like chicken or salmon or something. It is very good.
It's so good. I'll just do like even like a kind of like a caprese with like tomatoes, mozzarella, and like a bunch of that glaze. And oh my God, so good.
Yeah, little salt and pepper. Yeah. Okay.
More on salt flakes.
Yeah. Jess says, I love that stuff on pizza. I will have to try that balsamic glaze on pizza.
Nice.
Next question is cereal soup.
Oh my God, this is a good one. Yes. No, I don't know. only assembled cereal,
like yeah, the full. The full
Because like
product
it
of
doesn't have
milk?
to be hot, right? Because
No, right?
gazpacho is cold.
Yeah, yeah.
Cereal on its own is not soup, but cereal already in the milk is a composed soup. I'm gonna stick with it.
All right. Okay. All right. First video game you ever played?
World of Warcraft.
Really? That was the first one you
I
ever played?
I was addicted.
Seriously?
Like my parents used to punish me by taking away WoW.
Yeah.
Taking away reading and then taking away WoW. Um,
Wow.
I you said this is actually really funny because my brother and I was talking about how we're like best friends and stuff. We used
Mhm.
to argue a lot. He's 3 years younger than me, and like his favorite pastime was annoying me. But when we started playing WoW together, we like would go questing. There was this thing called Recruit a Friend. So if you were in a party together, you would get double the experience. So it was like we adventured all through Azeroth, and that was when we really like built our friendship. When we would get angry, so I was a priest and I was the healer, and he was a mage. And when I'd get angry at him, I would like let him die and then not res him so that he'd have to like walk back. It was
Oh my
so
god.
funny.
The comments are becoming just a complete stream of World of Warcraft, and I know nothing about that game. I've never played it. So, what did you
It's
main?
a priest. I for some reason like level 3 priest up to 120, and then a mage, and then I stopped playing halfway through freshman year because my college dorm mates kept dragging me out. Um, and then a few years ago, actually around when I started at Twitch, WoW Classic came out, and I once again became like a gamer, and I was declining my friends' invites to go out and like drinking or whatever because I was like, oh, sorry, I can't. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I got a raid and all this stuff. So I was again playing priest and mage because I don't know. I guess I just never really wanted to try the other classes.
Is that what you stream on Twitch? Wow.
So I did stream WoW a lot. I also streamed Animal Crossing, which is so fun to stream. The Animal Crossing community on Twitch is amazing. Like I had when I was pretty new, I had a bunch of people come to my island and just give me a ton of bells and like a bunch of
Wow.
like limited edition items. My brother was really jealous because he was like, "You've only been playing for a month. How do you have like this special St. Patrick's Day item? Like you didn't have the game then." So that was really cool. I also streamed Zelda Breath of the Wild. I think there's some VODs on my channel of and just like trigger warning if you don't like watching people play like games poorly. I'm not a good at playing. I like refuse to use my shield and defend. So like some of my friends were watching me like fight Thunder Ganon. I'm literally crying. This is so funny. I was trying to fight Thunder Ganon and he was just like totally crushing me. And my friends in chat were like, for the love of God, Song, please use your shield. You have all like, I can't even remember what they're called, like the extra like special powers that you get from defeating the other Ganons. Didn't use them all, just kept going through all my random swords and like, it's like Master Sword's gonna get me to the end.
That's great.
I did take only 2 tries to beat Thunder Ganon though. So
Well, then you must have been doing something right. You obviously knew some kind of strategy that the rest of
yes.
us noobs did not know.
Yeah, yes. I
That's
am
great.
definitely a noob and I'm very okay with it. I enjoy the game still.
That's awesome. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty lately. Season 3 just dropped today
Mm,
at like lunchtime. So I think I hopefully don't have many calls tomorrow because I will be up late tonight playing some DMZ in Call of Duty. But
nice.
yeah, so DMZ, I don't know if you play much Call of Duty. DMZ is like this almost like this battle royal kind of deal.
Mhm. I
Um,
played for a little bit. I have a couple of friends who during COVID, we had like a Tuesday nights we would play together and I stopped playing honestly because that was the time I was raiding. So
nice.
I didn't have time for the other games, but
So how
I'm
does
really bad at shooters, like
are you?
incredibly bad. I just can't aim.
Yeah.
And I panic. So like when was playing with my friends and we're playing like multiplayer, and I was like, there's someone over there. And I just like start running the other direction. and my friend
That's a
Derek
valid
is like,
strategy sometimes. I mean,
he was like, "Song, don't hide, don't run." Yeah, sorry, Derek.
That's great. Well, this has been an amazing time. I very much appreciate you joining us and
Yeah.
chatting. I think a lot of people just really kind of like to see behind the scenes and learn about what some of us do here at Twitch and on the IVS team. So I apologize if we were too off topic. I had a blast. I mean, it seems like the
I did
chat
too.
really enjoyed it. Alex says Adam Brown is the celebrity here. Pog.
Yeah, he's here. He's in chat. Downtown Adam
Adam
Bro.
Brown. Yeah.
Hi, Adam. There's a clip
Adam
for
loves
you to watch if
DMZ.
you weren't
Nice.
here.
Adam, I gotta come down and have a beverage with you down in Atlanta next time I'm down there. So we'll book that now. Robert says recurring guest confirmed. I would love to have you on anytime, Song, and
Yeah.
we can maybe you'll become my part-time co-host and we can kind
Hey.
of team
Yeah,
up.
let's do it.
And yeah. So appreciate y'all joining, and join us next week for another episode. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye, everyone.